right, welcome to another episode of Coding with Noah. My name's Noah, and today we're going to be doing part 2 of the color picker. So if you remember last time, our color picker was this, and we're going to need, in order to make it look more like this and be able to save colors, we're going to need to add a text field, a button, and we're going to need to output the colors. But this time, we're just going to do the output, the saving of colors. So we'll add the text field and the button, and we're just going to get it to where it outputs into here, and we're also going to get it to where it saves to local storage. So if you notice, go to here, applications, local storage, you can see it's saving to local storage, and that's why it will remember. So we're going to get everything remembering colors as well. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use stores. So it's a way of basically sharing data, also known as state, between components. So we're going to do that in this video. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new project. So I'm already in the folder that I want to be in. So I'm going to open up a terminal, and we're just going to start off where we started off last time, and that's by using the dijet command. And the way you get the dijet command installed is you do npm install -d, and then you type in dijet. And oops, I meant install. And the way this works is it'll basically clone a GitHub repo or any repo you want, and put it into a folder minus the .git. So it allows you to do quick scaffolding. So we're going to do that with our last app. So that'll do that. And then we're just going to do oops, that's wrong. So let me just do an rm rf on that. And oops, rm rf star. Yes. And hopefully that cleared everything. And let's get rid of that git ignore. So we'll delete that. Okay. So now everything should be clear. We're going to do it again, except for this time we're going to do a dot. And I'll put a dot in the final example. So that should just clone it to the right repo. So now if I do ls, everything's good. And if I do an npm install, that should get us back to where we were. And we just install it, and then we're going to do an npm run dev so we can see what we're doing. And that should be up in a second. And I'm going to delete this one because we're going to be focusing on this one from now on. So the first thing we want to do is go into here, and we want to create our two components. So we want to create two components. One is going to be the color save component. It's going to have all the logic and markup for saving a color. And then the other one's going to be the color table component, which will display the colors in a table. Sorry about that. So let's start with our color save component. Let's copy all the styles and put them right here. We'll also copy all of the variable data, and we'll put that right here. And then we'll copy everything minus the H1 because we want that to live in the color component. So cut that and put that in right here, and then just do Control-Alt-Save. And everything's gone because we need to import it in. So we'll go up to here, and we'll do an import, and we'll say import color save from color save, and we'll do an import from color table from color table. And this will do that, but probably we didn't create, or did we? See what it's telling us. Color save. Oh yeah, so you have to do the dot svelte. That's important. So that's why we're getting that error. So now that should work, and we have to import our components to see them. So we'll do color save, and we'll do color table. And now we're back where we started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import our stuff to create the text field and the button. So let's do that. And let's go up here. And we're going to start importing stuff from Material UI. So we'll group these two together because there are creations, and then we'll just put the Material UI on top. And let's do it. Okay, so first thing we're going to import is a text field. Yeah, you can call this is how they do it. So that's why I'm doing it like that, the lowercase f. So add smui-text field, and we're going to need to import some buttons. So we'll import the button and the label from at smui/button. And I think that should do it. Yeah. So now we're going to create our markup for it. So let's do that. So we're going to create a div with a BP of grid and vertical end, and that'll push everything down. So if there's components that there's columns on the grid that are taller than the other columns, the shorter columns will be pushed down. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a div with a BP of 8 and an offset of 2. And this will contain our text field. And this will have this is important. If you don't, I'll show you what happens when you don't do this. But so it'll have a label of name, but if you don't bind something to the value, things blow up. And full width is another prop that this text field takes, and we'll set it to true, and that'll make it go all the way. So if I don't set it, you can see everything's erroring out, and it'll have like some add event listener error. So the way you get rid of that is you create a value. So the value that a variable that we want to bind it to. So the variable that we want to bind it to is name. So create the name variable and go ahead and bind it. So we'll say bind value name. And let's see if that fixes it. And it did. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create another div, and this is for the button. And this will have 2, and then we'll do the button. And we'll say variant equals unelevated. And we'll say color equals secondary. And then inside the button, there'll be a label, and the label will be called save color. See what that looks like. Okay, that's looking good. And is there anything else? Yes. So right now we can save a color if nothing's typed in. So what we want to do is we want to say we want to create a dynamic variable or a reactive variable called can save color. And we want to set that equal to if the name.length is greater than or equal to 3, we'll allow them to save the color. So this is just some validation. And right now, later on in the series, we'll allow them just to hit enter to save the color. But for right now, we'll just make it to where they can only hit the button to save the color. So what we'll say is disabled. So the disabled attribute is bind to the can save color. So if they can't save the color, the disabled attribute will be true. So if I save that, it goes blank. But if I start typing stuff in, I can do that. So everything's super, super dynamic, which is awesome. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to create a function or a few functions. The first function we're going to create is the save color function, but this is looking like a mess. So let me clean this up. So we'll put our reactive variables right here. Then we'll create our function. So this function will be called, not can save, but add color. So we'll create an add color function, and we'll also create a reset function, which we'll put right here. And this will be called every time something changes. So reset. So every time you edit or save a color, this will be called. And this is just going to reset everything. So we'll set the name to blank. We'll set red to 100, green to 0, blue to 100. And I'm also going to create a variable that will store whether we're editing a color or not. And that'll be called mode. And I'm going to set this mode to add by default. So mode will be add. And we'll go ahead and just do a little bit of prep work for the ID. And then we'll set the ID to null. And when reset happens, ID will be set to null. And just for safety, we're just going to call the reset every time the component loads. Okay, so now we need our add color, and we're going to need a store for that. So let me see how I'm doing on time. I think I'm doing good. Oh yeah, doing really good. So let's add our add color store. So we're going to create a new folder called stores, and we're going to call this color.store.js. And what stores allow you to do is share information between components, and when the information updates or changes, it updates all the components. So the first store that we're going to create is a writable store. So we're going to import writable from Svelte/store. And let's go ahead and move that way. And we're going to const color store. So we're going to create a color store. We're going to say writable, and we're just going to set it to a blank array. So what that'll do is set it to, basically a blank array. It starts out. And the next thing we'll do is we're going to export default, and every store has to have a subscribe method or function. So we'll say color store dot subscribe. And by default, we could just export the color store as a default, but I like adding custom variables, custom functions to my store. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to do the update and do the set. Update will basically take in a callback with a parameter of all the items in the store and expect you to return new items. And then set will just set all the items to the store. So rather than doing that, we'll create our own. So I'm going to say const add color, and that's going to take in a red, a green, a blue value, and a name. So that's what's going to be required to add a color. And then inside this method, we will call our update, and this will be colors. And we have to return colors, so we'll return colors. So that'll be what the new store will contain. And then inside here, we'll just use the push method, and we'll say red, green, blue, name is favorite, which will default to false. And we will store the, what else will we store? Oh yeah, the ID, which we're going to fake in this incredibly unprofessional way with the date timestamp. So now what we'll do is we'll say add color, and let's import the store. So we go back to our color save. We'll import it right here. So we'll import, and we don't need the curly braces because we did the default color store from dot stores color-store.js. Make sure that's right. Yes, it is. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, in here, we're going to say color store dot add color. And we'll take in the red, the green, the blue value, and the name. And then we're going to call reset, which will reset everything. So that'll be good, but we want to make sure that it's getting updated. So let's copy that import statement for the color store, and let's head on down to the color table. And we're not going to actually do the color table. We're just going to import it, and we're going to, inside a div, just a regular div, we're going to import a variable called JSON string, and we're just going to make sure that everything's saving. So we're just going to say color store dot subscribe colors, and we're going to say JSON string equals JSON stringify colors. So this should show us if the colors are changing. Actually, yeah, we'll do something even better. We'll do we'll say let colors temp equal that, and then we'll say colors temp equals colors. And then what we'll do is we'll create an unordered list with an each. So color as color temp, colors temp as color. And then this will basically give, this allows for better updating. So instead of updating the whole list, we'll just update the part that we need. And we'll wrap all this in a UL. So that basically assigns an ID to everything that we're eaching through this. And then in here, we'll do an LI, and then we'll just output color.name. And yeah, we'll just do that. Okay, so right now nothing's for eaching, so let's add a color. We'll call this purple. And if everything worked, we should see purple down there. And we don't, we're seeing an error. That's to be expected, possibly. Let's see. Oh, could not resolve color save from @svelte. Well, that's not the error. Let's refresh this. And let's just make sure everything's working. So that seems to be working. And then blue. And let's just make sure that we can console.log. See if anything's logging out. So nothing gets logged. Let's see. So we go back to our color store. We're pushing the colors. We're returning them. And let's make sure that in our color save, we're adding red, green, and blue. Oh, but that's weird, isn't it? It's supposed to set the name to nothing. Okay. So that is weird. Just make sure this is all working. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, so what was happening is that we did not hook up our button to it. So let's go back here, and if we hook up our button to the value, add color. You guys probably saw that. I'm so sorry. And then if I type in purple, let's see. So yeah, so it is logging it out. That's weird. That's really weird. Let's see if it's in the HTML. There is an element called purple. Oh, it's being hidden by that. Ugh, not my day today, guys. Anyway, so with that, we do have everything ready to go. So now if I can add a bunch of these purple, and I can add green and blue, and you can see they're adding. Okay, so the last thing I want to do, and I just want to see how much time I have. Yeah, I got plenty of time. Is to add the thing that saves the color to local storage, so that we can save the color to local storage. So let's do that. So here's a little fun trick you can do. So we're just going to wrap this in an if local storage dot get item colors that equals true. Right, we're just going to say color store dot set, and then this will just override whatever's in there to what's in local storage. Now, what's in local storage is a string, so we do have to do JSON stringify that value. So what I'm going to do to make this a little bit easier is I'm just going to say const saved colors equals that. And I'm going to say if the saved colors equals that. And then we don't want to use stringify, actually. We want to use parse, because that'll parse the JSON structure. So now what we want to do is we want to subscribe to the store. So we do color store dot subscribe, and we say colors, we say color store, and then we would basically do this, but instead of using get item, we would use set item, and it takes in the key, which is going to be colors, and then we would do JSON stringify, and then we would say colors. So now if I move this a little bit this way, and I'm going to inspect elements just so you can see this. And I'm going to say my first color is purple, and we'll go into here, and you can see purple. Then let's make a blue color, so we'll make it blue, and it's being saved as blue. And then if I refresh, everything gets saved, and blue and purple get saved. So I think we're going to call it quits for this video. So in this video, we just made our save button, and we got our save store working with local storage. In the next video, we'll start on our data table for saving the colors, or showing the colors and filtering the colors and favoriting and deleting and all that stuff. And then I think in our fourth series of this, we'll finally get to the edit. So don't quote me on all that, but I hope you all have a great day, and I will catch you on the flip side. Catch you all later.